I'm John, and tonight I want answers about the First Amendment, and I want to hear some piano music. It's our season 3 premiere, and there's no stopping us now, because we're live. Woo! That was great. That was Scott D. Davis.
I recognize
on
him.
piano. So we're really happy to have Scott with us today. He's here with his touring partner, Michele McLaughlin.
Yes.
Who we'll be hearing from later in the show.
Yep.
What song did you play for us?
That was called Dance in My Heart.
Dance in My Heart.
Yep.
Wow, that was great.
Thank you.
Check your calendar. If it says June 14th, 2012, then we're live. And it was... We think. We had a few hiccups coming live earlier. My guest tonight is Keith Statenfield. He's the host of Keith Explained, another great show on this channel.
It's definitely on this channel.
Yes. He's my guest tonight because he's a news junkie, history buff, and he loves freedom.
I do love freedom.
Who would not love freedom?
Freedom haters.
Exactly. And we don't. Yeah. If you've never seen the show before, this is like a courtroom drama.
It's not.
I'm the prosecutor. My guest is the expert witness. Yes, and you at home and in the studio are the jury. And it's your job to acquit or convict the topics. Because
or change the channel.
Don't give them the idea.
If there's anyone who that didn't occur to, we don't want them in the jury.
We can't have them thinking about that this early in the show. We'll be taking your tweets. So
and selling them.
Tweet us at JohnWantsAnswer. There's no S on the end because the S is for suck and we don't. We have a few specialists for you. If you tweet in and say you want the teeth whitening from Dr. Bouzid's dental practice, then we have a teeth whitening certificate.
Can I get the teeth whitening?
Do you want teeth whitening?
I don't know.
You can get it. If you tweet in.
Tweet
say
in.
You want
That seems wrong for me to tweet into the own show.
You should be paying attention to the show.
Yeah, I should. Not tweeting.
If you tweet in and say you want a headshot, I'll autograph this promotional photo for you and mail it to you. I'll say, dear viewer, thanks for viewing John. They're very popular. A lot of the kids have them today in their lockers at school. And now, since they're off school, they have them in their bedrooms. I have many relatives who tell me they have this.
Yes.
On their walls. Go to johnwantsanswers.com to see our other past shows.
Yes. There's an S there because they do, in fact, suck.
No, the website doesn't suck.
No, but there's an S there because of past shows.
The S for suck only applies to Twitter.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
I don't make the rules. Go to Facebook and like us, because we're the kind of show you want your friends knowing that you like. This show could not be made possible without our executive producers, Lisa Tamaki and Brian Westphal. So thanks to them.
I checked the pronunciation. We're getting it right.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Because it's always up in the air for some reason.
We've never.
There's always conversation.
We should really talk to them more instead of communicating only by telegram.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Our first topic, the First Amendment.
Oh, it's cool. Even the real-time live audio cues are late.
Did you see the look on his face when I was like pointing at him? He was like,
yeah, I felt very bad for him.
That was my cue.
That was your cue when I point. For future reference, when I point at people, it means
You're
I
dead.
expect you to do
It
something.
means I have fired you.
Okay, the First Amendment.
Yes.
This is part of the Bill of Rights.
Yes.
And I have brought my Bill of Rights with me.
No, that's
There's
one of those
my-
said Declaration of Independence.
This is the Declaration of Independence I have with
not
me.
the Bill of Rights.
This is my Constitution of the United States of America.
Yeah, well,
Here's my Bill of Rights.
yeah.
It's on parchment. That's what they had back
Fake-
then.
That's not real parchment.
This is real parchment.
I don't think so. That
Can
just
you-
looks like yellow paper.
No, it's... Okay, the First Amendment.
Did you get that from a glass box in a building in Washington?
I was visiting the archives in Washington, and I got this. Now, I'm confused if people talk about the First Amendment all the time, because
Yes.
if you read the article of the first, it says, after the first enumeration required by the first article of the Constitution, there shall be one representative for every 30,000. See, nothing about the
No.
freedom of speech.
They didn't accept two of them.
Oh, the first two they didn't accept.
Yeah.
So Article the third, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof.
They hadn't invented printing yet, so they only had
It's very
cursive.
hard to write because they write things differently back then.
Yes, and they hadn't invented the letter F.
Or abridging the freedom of speech.
Or abridging the freedom of speech.
Or the press. Or the press.
Or the press.
See, when they have two S's, the first one's an F. In the old days.
In the old days.
Yeah. So press is P-R-E-F-S.
Yeah, Thomas Edison invented the double S.
That guy.
Yeah. He got a patent for it. No one could use it for 17 years.
Okay. Long story short.
Long story short.
The third
Amendment
article, which is
on
the
that
First
piece
Amendment.
of paper, was the first accepted amendment.
Third article was the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech.
Yes.
Congress shall not make any laws restricting freedom of the speech. Right.
Abridging. Yes.
Okay. And that's why at the start of each show I say you can't stop us now because we're live. Because we're
There's
live
nothing to do with that.
is why we can't stop us. And because the First Amendment is why they can't stop me from saying what I'm going to say. This I'm bringing
Why
up.
Congress can't stop you.
Yes. I'm bringing this up because of this news article I read recently.
That would show up at like the top of Yahoo News.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Middleborough, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
They passed
It's spelled differently in the old days.
Or maybe. Monday night, which probably was some other Monday by now, they voted to make it a fine to swear in public.
Yes.
To say...
To allow the police
profanity.
to issue a citation for people who uttered profanities
Yes.
in a public space,
Yes. So...
not part of an ordinary conversation.
Oh, so if you ordinarily were talking about...
If you and a friend were walking down the street cursing to each other, that's still legal and not finable.
Really?
But if you're a 14-year-old and you stand on one side of the street and you scream a profanity at a 14-year-old on the other side of the street, it is finable.
So apparently the
These
problem
are some
was...
angry old people
The
in this
problem
particular
was
town.
teenagers swearing a lot
Apparently
in
the
public.
root cause was a bunch of teenagers,
See, teenagers...
who are making the old people really unhappy.
Teenagers,
What with
I
their
don't like
pants
teenagers.
around their ankles.
Teenagers are always causing problems.
They are.
Isn't our camera guy a teenager? Alex, how old are you?
14.
Okay. Alex is
14.
an exception. He's a fine young man.
Fine young man.
But all other teenagers, troublemakers, hooligans, causing problems. Okay, get off my lawn. Okay. So how can this city
Yes.
pass this ordinance to restrict freedom of speech?
Well, they had a meeting,
Uh-huh.
and a majority of the citizens at the meeting voted to do this.
Okay.
And that's how they can do it.
But they can't enforce this, can they?
That remains to be seen.
Let's say I am on the street and I yell, doohickey or balderdash.
Yes.
Okay, and then to a police officer. And he writes
No,
me
near a police officer.
near. Well, I could do it to him too.
You could too, but I don't recommend it because they have handcuffs.
Then he writes me a ticket. It's not
Citation,
arrestable,
yes.
right? He can't arrest me. It's a citation.
He could write you a citation,
Yes.
and if he feared for his safety, I think he could arrest you.
No one's going to fear for their safety from me. Now, do I have to pay this ticket? Because
I would assume you ought to pay the ticket. It's $20. You're rich.
what if I don't pay the ticket?
Then they would get angry at you.
Is that all they can do is get upset with me?
Well, they could put it in your permanent record.
What does that mean?
That means if anyone goes to Massachusetts and says, I would like to see John's permanent record, there would be a didn't pay $20 fine line. And if you had cursed repeatedly, perhaps many of them,
But
and
sounds
eventually
like-
they may sell that to a third-party collection agency, which would wake you up every day at 6:30 in the morning asking you when you were going to pay your $220 plus interest.
But it sounds like this is not enforceable, since Congress shall not make any law restricting the freedom of speech. How could they pass this? Enforce it?
Although the First Amendment and that part of the First Amendment seem pretty rock solid, shall make no law.
Mm-hmm.
There are, in fact, recognized exceptions to that. You can't yell fire in a crowded movie house
Okay.
because if there's no fire, if there's a fire, yell fire, for God's sakes. If you're in a movie house and you see a fire, yell fire, pull a little red thing, help people evacuate. But if there's not a fire, by yelling fire, you cause a riot.
Right.
People might be injured, people might be killed. You
Okay.
can make a law against that because you're not allowed to falsely yell fire and cause injury.
Also, slander, I guess, suppose, is
Uh,
a restriction of freedom of speech, right?
yes.
Which is like lying. It's
and libel.
right.
But in particular, in addition to those, Congress and the courts for almost all time have held that obscenities are not covered by the First Amendment. That there's no First Amendment right to obscene speech or, since then, videos or drawings or anything else.
Wait, so who ruled this? Supreme Court?
Supreme Court, multiple times.
Multiple times.
Many, many times.
Were they reading the same
The
Bill of Rights
exact same
that I did?
words. There's apparently tiny print between the lines that we
Well,
don't
it's
see.
pretty tiny already. Because the Supreme Court, right, their sole job is to decide if laws are constitutional. Is
No,
that
they do other
correct?
jobs too.
They do other jobs too? Yeah. What else they do?
They decide laws are constitutional. They uphold judgments of previous courts. They decide not to hear cases. They make people presidents even though they shouldn't be. Do lots of things.
So there was already a state law on the books in Massachusetts.
I don't know if it was a state law. There was a law in the book. Might have been a municipal law.
And there was also a bylaw. And they said they never enforced the bylaw because they were
Not
afraid
at all recently.
the court costs would be prohibitive.
Apparently the same town had a bylaw, which is just a municipal law.
What's the difference between a bylaw and an ordinance? Why did they repeal the bylaw?
I think
and make
in
an
this
ordinance?
case, bylaws and ordinances are probably the same thing. The federal government creates laws. They apply to everyone. States create laws because the states are, the many states. Within a state, cities don't have, governments that derive power from the people. They derive power from the state as a whole. And so the state has delegated to the cities the right to pass certain kinds of laws. And often those are called ordinances, not laws.
Okay. Are they enforceable in a court of law? These
Yes.
ordinances? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we got to stop for a break now. When we come back, we're going to hear from Michele McLaughlin. And send us your tweets. We're going to read them when we come back. So don't go away.
We might not read them. We might. It's possible we'll
Remember
read
you
them.
told me not to say "don't go away"?
I
'Cause I'm
did.
planting the idea in their head that they
Yes.
could go away.
No, I actually don't remember that, but it sounds like something I'd say. I saw
Okay.
a show last month.
You guys got to switch up places now.
It didn't occur to you until you were here showing the show that we broadcast in standard def, did it?
What do you mean?
The show last month, right? Because it was like you on one side of the screen, we saw half your face.
During the
And the other guy you were talking to, you know,
Oh,
we saw this
yeah,
half of his
yeah.
face. And there was this huge gulf in between you. It was like you hated each other.
Okay, what I thought
It
was
was for
going to,
God's sakes. I mean, just sit near each other.
what I thought was going to happen was that we would be shrunk down and it'd be like letterbox.
Letterbox.
That's what I was expecting, but it wasn't letterbox. It was chop off the sides.
Yeah, it was like, hi, I'm John. Hi, I'm John's uncle.
Well, I did post the entire widescreen segment separately on YouTube. So if you want to see both of our heads, not separated, well, we'll still be separated.
You're
You
still that Grand Canyon between the two of you.
Hey, do we have tweets? Oh, look at this! Wow, we've got a lot of stuff coming in. Who is Brouhaha?
That's Eric Smith.
It's what?
It's Eric Smith.
Who's Eric Smith?
He comes to my show.
Is he in the studio now?
No,
Oh, well, look at that.
he doesn't come to your show. He's not your friend. You don't know who he is.
Well, he's watching my show though.
That's because I'm on it.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we're back. And now we're going to hear from Michele McLaughlin. Take it away, Michele. Woo! That was fantastic. So that's
Also
a song,
awesome.
A song you wrote yourself?
It is, yes.
What's it called?
Into the Sunset.
Into the Sunset. And you've got like a bunch of CDs out, right?
I do.
Can you get
13.
that on iTunes?
You can.
Wow, that's great. So
Thank you.
check that out on iTunes.
I took piano lessons when I was a kid. And I was in a piano recital, and I was playing the song, and I forgot how it ended. So I was just stuck up there. I kept looping, and I was trying to remember the end. And I played the middle part of the song like 7 times. It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
I think a lot of pop music today does that.
Yeah, that's been my expectation since then.
So you and Scott are on tour
We are.
along the West Coast.
We are.
So you were, if I understand it, Vallejo last night?
Yes.
And where are you going off from here?
Sacramento, 2 shows, and then into Chico, California, and then up into Oregon and Washington.
Oh yeah, cool. So I think it's touringtheivories.com.
It is.
So check that out if you want to go to one of their concerts. Okay, we're going to take tweets now, and we have a whole bunch.
I bet they won't forget how it ends.
Oh,
I'm sure. I'm sure they won't.
I'm
How the song ends.
Yeah, they're professionals.
They are.
They're not like you.
No, they're not like me. In every way, they're not like me.
Okay, we have a bunch of tweets from Brohaha.
Brouhaha.
If I click his name, does it tell me who he is? You know who he is, right?
It's Eric Smith.
Eric Smith.
Hi, Eric.
Who's the judge? We had this question before.
We did, and there
I
was
forgot
no good
what-
answer
there's no
because
good answer.
I'll point out the entire premise of the show is flawed.
I believe you said it's a monkey court.
I'm sure I've called it a lot of things.
Okay. He also says, sure, I would like a headshot. So Eric Smith
Eric Smith,
gets a headshot. Fantastic.
you've finally given one away after all these years.
I've given a lot away. A lot of people have it in their offices, and their colleagues ask what it's all about. Again, he asks, the First Amendment, is that old thing still around?
Yeah.
Yes. Brian Westphal. Hey,
Westphal.
I want the teeth whitening certificate. Okay, so he will get that from me later. Though Jamie might steal it from me.
We'll have to get an address from him so we can send it.
I don't know who this Jamie person is. I probably do, and I'll be embarrassed.
They're
but-
probably spies.
Okay. Which part of which part of make no law does the Supreme Court not understand?
I don't know.
The no or the law?
I think there are lots of things I don't understand personally, but I've been told that when I talk about things like that on TV, I sound bitter and angry, and I should not do that.
You don't have quite as much gravitas saying that as Clint Eastwood. Did he say something about profanity? And
I don't know. See, the problem is we're trying to remember what we said 15 minutes ago. You got to catch up. You got to catch up. Scroll to the top. Scroll. There's lots of tweets, and we got like a minute left.
I got to skip all these from this guy?
They're all great. People, go read them. Go read them on Twitter.
I don't know what that is.
He does say that the guest musicians tonight are awesome, which I agree.
Entirely
They are-
too many tweets from that Brouhaha guy. Oh, he said damn. Entirely too damn many tweets. I wanted to be there live, but it didn't work out. Oh, musicians are awesome. Musicians
said they're
are
awesome.
I agree. And you can tell Keith that I'm not watching only because he's on. Okay. Someone else feed in. I like the musical performances. John
Yeah.
Wants Answers is getting a little classier.
Yeah, a little classier.
little classier.
Still a long
Yeah.
way to go.
I don't know. Can we top this? Like, can we top
Never
this?
again.
I
Never
don't think so.
again.
Why does Keith have a rocking chair this month? Yeah, because we were like stressed trying to get the show working tonight, and I couldn't stop him. Well, look at the time. I don't have time to tell my story.
You got a story?
I had a story, but now it's
Talk fast, man.
San Francisco. Crazy guy, street corner, yelling with a bullhorn about Jesus.
Yes.
Cops come and say, stop yelling on your bullhorn or we'll arrest you and put you in jail.
Yes.
Clear violation of his First Amendment rights.
Possibly, but it's probably also illegal to use a bullhorn in San Francisco without a permit.
Okay. Scott, take us away. What are you playing next?
I'm going to play Swiftwater.
Okay.